You're 17, bucking a storm-downed oak behind your parents' garage. You pull the starter cord, and an old Stihl chainsaw coughs awake in the cold air. The bar bites in, the chain throws chips, the rounds tumble loose, and you stack the split wood. One cord is worth about $300. 25 years later, a sawmill built by people like you sells for about $300 million. Between those two numbers sits the same tree. Split one way, it heats a garage for one winter. Cut another way, that same log becomes a live-edge slab worth $290 to $600. Nobody at the gas station buying firewood knows this ladder exists. This is every level of a sawmill operator's career, and what it really takes to climb it. If you like breakdowns of how careers actually progress, like and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Level 1. The backyard slabber. You are not getting paid yet. You stand over a log the whole street calls firewood. A storm dropped this oak across the back fence last week, and you are about to cut it the long way instead. You kneel in the wet grass and read the end grain. You screw a straight 2x4 to the top of the trunk. You clamp a Granberg Alaskan mill down onto the bar. Up close, its aluminum rails ride square along the guide bar. The saw under those rails is a long-barred Stihl. Those rails alone ran about $304. You swap the crosscut chain for a sharp ripping chain. You yank the pull cord until the engine catches and roars. Then you walk the saw down the length of the trunk. You move slower than every instinct is telling you to. Sawdust keeps piling up past the tops of your boots. Blue exhaust hangs in the cold morning air around you. Halfway down, the cut starts to close and pinch the bar. So you tap a plastic wedge into the kerf behind the saw. The bar runs free again, and the long pass keeps going. 20 minutes of steady noise buys you one clean pass. Your forearms burn long before the heavy log is finished. You shake out your aching hands and roll both shoulders. But the slab finally peels off flat and clean. It comes off a full 2 inches thick, edge to edge. You lift the heavy board and turn it toward the light. Live edges ripple down both long sides of the slab. The grain inside looks like furniture you could actually sell. That is the win nobody ever bothered to sell you. You paint the raw ends with a thick wax sealer. The coat keeps the fibers from checking as they dry. You carry the fresh slabs into the dim single garage. You stack them on stickers with air between each board. Then, you wait long months while the wet wood loses water. The moisture meter becomes the tool you check the most. You press its 2 probes into the end of a board. Your neighbor wanders over and studies the stack of oak. He asks what a slab like that would actually cost. You do not have a real answer for him yet. The mill only bites so deep on every single pass. It tops out at around 13 inches of usable cut. Your lower back files a formal complaint after every session. You stop feeding the straight logs into the wood stove. Most people give up right here at the very beginning. Milling one big oak by hand is a full-body argument. You wipe the dust off your face and study the pile. The ones who stay go hunting a mill with its own motor. Or they chase a paycheck already waiting inside a real one. That real machine turns milling into an actual paying trade. You kill the engine and set the saw down in the sawdust. That steady paycheck is waiting for you at level 2. Level 2. The green chain hand. Your first paid job in wood is easily the loudest room you have ever stood in. Sierra Pacific Industries hires you straight onto the production floor at $21.31 an hour, and the company says it trains and promotes from within. On day 1, a forklift sets a bunk of logs onto the deck, and the debarker screams through the first stem before you can blink. Your job lives at the green chain, the moving belt of fresh-cut boards coming off the head saw all shift long. You pull boards off the belt, sort them by width, stack the layers, and slide in the stickers. First you learn the cant hook first, then you grab the PV next, then you reach for the pike pull, and slowly you figure out which one saves your fingers. One afternoon, a stubborn board jams the edger halfway down the line. You reach in before hitting the stop, and the millwright's hand lands on your shoulder a half-second before yours lands on the board. The federal standard has a number, 29 CFR 1910.265, and the floor teaches you why it exists faster than the binder ever could on its best day. Wood sawing machines carry one of the highest injury rates of any occupation the government even bothers to track at all. So you learn the rhythm of the line, instead of fighting the belt all day long. Log coming down the chain. Clear the jam fast. Band the unit tight. The company then sends you through Game of Logging, the Chainsaw Safety Pathway, a hard 4-day certification, 4 levels at $250 each, and the certificate goes in your wallet for good. A 4th-generation Sawyer at Deep Woods Lumber, way out in Piketon, Ohio, put it plainly for you. Within 3 months on the floor, he was pushing logs through the mill himself. That is the whole level. 3 months in, the head Sawyer waves you up to watch the breakdown cuts up close, and he uses your name when he does it. You finally stop flinching when a log booms down onto the deck. The next thing you buy is not a truck payment. It is a mill of your own, and level 3 is where it starts paying you back. Level 3. The Weekend Custom Sawyer. Now the mill rides behind your Ford pickup, and weekends belong to other people's logs. A Wood-Mizer band mill rides on the trailer with a box of blades, a cant hook and chain. Saturday morning, you back into a stranger's yard where a dead walnut has been lying since spring. Set up as a ritual. Level the mill, drop the outriggers, roll the log on, and clamp it down. You set the head for the opening face, then make the first cut. Under the bark, the walnut is chocolate dark and clean, and the customer goes quiet in the good way. Flip the cant and cut again. You charge about 30 cents a board foot, keeping a tally sheet on a clipboard by the log deck. Then the 4th log changes the day. The blade finds a nail, the band snaps with a crack like a rifle, the head stalls, and the whole yard goes silent. You eat the cost of the blade and lose 20 minutes changing it. The customer watches you do the work without complaining, then hires you again in the fall. That is what the broken blade bought. From then on, the metal detector crosses every yard tree before the first cut. Lesson installed. The economics of this level are strange, and you learn them fast. A woodworker named Matt Cremona in Brooklyn Center, Minnesota, built his own wide-cut bandsaw mill for about $15,000, instead of paying over $50,000 for a professional one. He said milling started as a side hustle, then became viable income, and yours is heading the same direction. You learn to read a log before opening it, where the taper is, where the knots hide, and which face gives the widest clear boards. You learn grade sawing, flipping the cant again and again to chase the best wood. Quarter sawn oak shimmers and sells. Flat sawn frames the shed. The tally sheet stays in the truck now, because you carry the count in your head. Sunday night you invoice, and the number covers the mortgage payment with room left over. And you wait. The question sitting in the sawdust is whether this stays a weekend habit or becomes the whole ladder. Level 4 is the day you stop calling it a side job. The sign gets a real name, and the weekend mill becomes tomorrow's business. Level 4. The portable sawmill business owner. The hydraulic Wood-Mizer runs full-time now, and the driveway operation has a name, a painted logo, and a forklift parked out back. Your feedstock is the whole city itself. Storm trees dropped across suburban lawns, dead yard walnuts, and logs the tree services once paid good money just to dump. Near-free logs roll in one end, and finished-price lumber stacks out the other side. Wood-Mizer's own numbers say about 60% of portable mill owners earn part or all of their income from milling, and you have crossed to the far side of that line. The real business here is not the sawing itself, it is the drying. You build a kiln from the ground up, fill it with fresh sawn walnut and oak, and stake a full month of cash flow on boards you cannot sell until they are bone dry. The first charge comes out warm, smelling of cedar and sugar, resting right at the moisture number you wanted, and the whole slow gamble finally exhales. Botch a single kiln schedule once, and case-hardened lumber teaches you exactly what patience really costs. You do not botch it twice. The math that carries the whole level is a plain 2-line contrast. Big box construction lumber runs $1 to $1.50 a board foot. Your kiln-dried walnut wholesales at $8 to $10 a board foot. Same forests, a different cut, and a completely different customer. A single finished slab clears $290 to $600 on its own. A slab flattener squares the big rough pieces, the planer dresses the boards down, and the moisture meter rides in your back pocket like a phone. You find your logs through small private woodland owners, one quiet handshake at a time. A Central Oregon mill owner who built a 20-plus-year wood products business after renting a Wood-Mizer back in 1996, calls his whole education the School of Hard Knocks. You now hold the very same hard degree. You hire your first helper, and payroll clears on a Friday with your company name printed on the stub. The moisture meter stays buried in your pocket more days than it comes out, because you read the boards by weight now, trusting your hands over any gauge. Then the yard goes quiet again, tools racked, sawdust settling in the last of the light. Quiet, right up until the volume finally outgrows the mill, and the next rung, level 5, is measured only by the truckload, one full load at a time. Level 5. The industrial sawmill owner. The portable mill rolls out to the backlot for good. You raise a steel shed around the machine. Inside sits a WM4500 industrial system now. Contract loggers feed your busy yard now. Morning starts with a loader stacking the log deck. A grapple swings a fresh log onto the mill. You scale each log with a stick as it lands. Hydraulics do the lifting your back once did. The owner of an Ohio industrial mill put a number on it. He called it the best move he ever made. That came 25 years into running the business. His mill cuts 40,000 to 45,000 board feet a week. He pushes it hard through every shift. He runs hard maple, red oak, and white oak. Yours is chasing that same brutal pace already. The hidden engine of this whole level is kerf. Thin band blade rides clean through the log. It wastes far less wood than the old circular mills. Sawdust piles up far smaller than before. You get a free load of lumber back. That is one extra load every 11 loads. Yield, not raw speed, is where the money hides. Saw filing now comes in-house this year. You build a proper filing room off the deck. One long steel bench runs the back wall. Racks of band blades stay surgically sharp. Filing a band down gives it a fine edge. You hire a lumber grader for the yard. He grades to rules the trade has long kept. National Hardwood Lumber Association rules go back to 1898. The top grade is FAS, firsts and seconds. That grade must run 83 1/3% clear. Grade stamps go on the fresh board ends. Prices climb higher the very next week. A jammed edger stops the whole line one Tuesday. It bleeds a full hour off the shift. The maintenance schedule you wrote gets torn up that afternoon. Now the line does not stop for a month. Trucks leave the yard loaded with fresh lumber. They roll back into the yard empty. Buyers call you now for the wood. It used to be the other way around. You stop walking the green chain at all. It runs the same whether you watch it or not. You stand at the shed door at dusk. The yard hums along without your hands on it. Above this level sits a tier few Sawyers ever see. Level 6 is not about running a bigger mill. It is a mill that becomes a number. Level 6. The lumber operation owner. The top of this ladder is a greenfield mill, built from bare dirt and designed to run at about 305 million board feet a year. In Lufkin, Texas, local businessmen who had never built a sawmill before did exactly that and called it Angelina Forest Products. Their mill manager, Wiley Quarles, said being part of the project was very special, and then ran the ramp up like a countdown. The breakdown line is a USNR quad arbor saw box, making decisions in milliseconds. Continuous kilns run day and night. Vollmer and Armstrong filing equipment keeps every saw in the building true. Reliability is the job now. Infrared cameras on bearings, vibration analysis on arbors, and hundreds of employees on the floor. You walk the line with a clipboard, and the numbers on it decide everything. Run well enough, long enough, and a strategic buyer notices. West Fraser, a lumber company with more than 60 facilities, closed its purchase of the Angelina Mill on December 1, 2021. The price was about $300 million. One mill, one signature. A lifetime of sawdust, converted. The founders hand over the keys, and the saws do not even pause. That is the summit the public never sees, and it changes what every level below it was actually worth. From here, the ladder below looks smaller and sharper. Final beat. Here is the twist the firewood pile was hiding all along. The public picture of a Sawyer is a loner with a chainsaw, while the truth at the top is a capital operation selling for the price of a small city. But the ladder between them is unusually open. The kid down the road is stacking a cord of firewood worth about $300 right now, standing on the first rung without knowing it. The industry is holding the door open, A 2024 timber harvesting survey of about 200 loggers found 91% of them over 40, and every mill in the country knows what that means. The trees keep falling in storms. Logs keep being free. Somebody has to see the slab inside the cord. You did, once, on your knees in a backyard with a saw that fought you the whole way. The missed Saturdays and the forearms that ached for 2 days after every big oak were the tuition, paid in full and worth the receipt. Now the walnut slab from that first dead yard tree is your desk. The scars in its edge are from your own ripping chain. And the Granberg Alaskan mill, the $300 aluminum frame that started everything, hangs on the office wall above it, cleaned up, retired, facing the window that looks out over the log yard. Same tool, opposite weight. Under it, the yard is full, the kilns are warm, and the first truck of the morning is already scaling in. You take your coffee out to the deck and watch the loader work. The saw you could not afford to break now sharpens itself in a room you built for it. The keys to the gate are on the hook by the door, and they are yours. Behind you, the mounted tool catches the same morning light. Below you, the first cord and the full yard finally belong to one story. The loader keeps working, the filing room keeps singing, and the gate keys settle heavy in your hand.